Almond. This stone fruit seed originates from the Middle East and is now primarily cultivated in the Mediterranean climates of California and Spain. It is distinguished by its teardrop shape and a woody shell that protects the edible kernel within. Unlike many other nuts, almonds are prized for their versatility, appearing as flour, milk, or whole snacks. Their flavor is mildly sweet, with a distinct crunch that has made them a staple in both ancient confectionery and modern health-focused diets. While the domesticated sweet variety is a global favorite, its wild ancestor contains amygdalin, which breaks down into cyanide, a defense mechanism the plant evolved to prevent animals from eating its seeds. Modern production relies heavily on honeybee pollination, creating one of the largest annual managed pollination events in the world, as hives are transported to orchards each spring. Beyond the nut itself, the almond tree is a member of the rose family, closely related to peaches and apricots, which explains the fuzzy green hull that resembles a small, unripened fruit before it splits open to reveal the shell.
Walnut. Recognizable by its brain-like appearance, this nut grows inside a green, fleshy husk on massive deciduous trees. They have a rich, slightly bitter skin that balances an exceptionally oily and creamy interior. Historically, walnuts were traded along the Silk Road and became a symbol of intellect in various cultures due to their shape. Because they contain a high concentration of alpha-linolenic acid, they tend to turn rancid faster than other nuts, which is why they are often stored in cool, dark places to preserve their earthy profile. Beyond the kernel, the shells and husks are utilized to create deep brown dyes and industrial abrasives, while the wood of the tree remains one of the most sought-after materials for high-end furniture and gun stocks. The English walnut, despite its name, actually originated in ancient Persia, where it was reserved for royalty before being spread throughout Europe by Roman legions.
Cashew. This kidney-shaped nut grows in a highly unusual way, hanging from the bottom of a fleshy fruit known as the cashew apple. Native to northeastern Brazil, the cashew is encased in a double shell containing caustic resins, which must be carefully removed through roasting before it is safe to eat. This labor-intensive process is why cashews are rarely sold in their shells. Once processed, they offer a buttery, soft texture that is frequently used in vegan cooking to create creamy bases for sauces and cheeses. The cashew apple itself is a highly prized delicacy in tropical regions, where its sweet and astringent juice is fermented into spirits or used in refreshing preserves. Botanically, the cashew is a close relative of mangoes and pistachios, and it remains a vital export for countries like Vietnam and India, which have become global leaders in the delicate art of manual processing.
Pistachio. Often called the green almond, these nuts are the seeds of a desert plant that thrived in the harsh climates of Iran and Iraq. They are famous for their naturally splitting shells, a trait that occurs as the nut expands during the ripening process. The vibrant green color of the kernel indicates a high level of antioxidants and a savory, slightly resinous flavor. While they were once dyed red to hide shell imperfections during harvesting, most modern pistachios are sold in their natural, tan-colored state. These trees are exceptionally hardy, capable of surviving in saline soil and extreme temperature fluctuations that would kill most other fruit-bearing plants. Because they are wind-pollinated, farmers do not rely on bees, instead planting male trees strategically among females to ensure the desert breezes carry the pollen across the entire orchard.
Pecan. As the only major tree nut native to North America, this nut was a primary food source for indigenous peoples long before European arrival. They grow in elongated, thin shells on trees that can live for over 300 years. The meat of a pecan is characterized by deep ridges and a high oil content, which gives it a distinctively sweet and robust flavor when toasted. They are deeply embedded in the culinary traditions of the American South, where they are favored for their ability to hold up in heavy, sugar-rich desserts. The name itself comes from an Algonquian word meaning a nut requiring a stone to crack, highlighting its historical importance as a durable, storable calorie source. Today, selective breeding has produced paper shell varieties that are significantly easier to open by hand, though wild pecans still offer a more concentrated, buttery flavor.
Macadamia. Originally found in the rainforests of Australia, these nuts are encased in the hardest shell of any edible nut, requiring specialized equipment to crack. They have since become synonymous with Hawaii, where large-scale commercial production began in the early 20th century. Macadamias are defined by their incredibly high fat content and a smooth, almost white interior that melts in the mouth. Because of their slow growth and difficult harvesting process, they remain one of the most expensive and sought-after nuts in the world. The shell of the macadamia is so dense that it is often burned at high temperatures to create activated carbon for water filtration systems. Interestingly, while humans find them a luxurious treat, macadamias are toxic to dogs, causing a temporary but distressing neurological reaction unique to the species.
Hazelnut. Also known as a filbert, this small, round nut is the fruit of the hazel tree and is mostly harvested in the coastal regions of Turkey. They are historically significant in Europe, where they have been gathered since the Mesolithic era. The nut is covered in a thin, bitter brown skin that is usually removed to reveal a sweet, fragrant kernel. Their unique aromatic profile has made them the global standard for pairing with chocolate and coffee, forming the basis of many famous spreads and pralines. The trees are often grown as shrubs and were traditionally used for water dowsing or making walking sticks due to the flexibility of their wood. In ancient folklore, hazels were often associated with wisdom and poetic inspiration, and their midwinter blooming cycle makes them one of the first signs of life in sleeping temperate forests.
Brazil nut. These are not grown on farms, but are harvested from the wild in the untouched corners of the Amazon rainforest. The nuts are actually seeds packed inside a large, heavy pod that resembles a coconut, with up to 20 seeds arranged like orange segments inside. Because the trees require a specific type of bee for pollination, they rarely produce fruit outside their native habitat. They are notable for their immense size and a texture that is more similar to a firm vegetable than a typical crunchy nut. These trees are among the giants of the rainforest, often reaching heights of over 160 feet and living for 500 years or more. Harvesting them is a dangerous task, as the falling pods can weigh up to 5 pounds and drop from the canopy with enough force to be fatal, requiring castañeros to wait for the wind to clear the pods before entering the groves.